So yesterday we were discussing about offline and online risk analysis and the batch risk analysis. Now let us see something else, what is called as false positives. So this is actually a very famous interview question. What do you mean by false positives? So I'll take an example here. So I'm not exactly sure this whether example is correct or wrong, but I'm not exactly sure of the T code. Is this a T code we use it for approval of invoice? Okay. So the condition, there is no risk ideally, but GRC system show that as a risk as per the rule set data defined. So that condition is called as a false positives. So there is a risk ideal, there is no risk ideally if you see, but GRC system shows that as a risk as per the rule set defined, the data, whatever the data you defined in rule set, as per that data, the system will show you that as a risk. Now take an example here. Let us take an example here. So finance S4D risk. So in finance, one of the risk what we take care is action level rule. So this is what we use: creating invoice, that is posting document FB01, and approving invoice FBV0. So creating invoice is through this document, which we call as a posting document. We'll post it, and then that document will be approved using this T code FBV0. So according to SOX law and SOD concept, this particular person, if a user has access to both the T codes, that is a SOD risk at action level. Okay. Whereas similarly, FB01 is controlled by this, suppose imagine just an authorization object with activity 01, and then FBV0 is controlled by activity 02 with activity 16. So these are the values I want to highlight in our permission rule, so that if this set of values combines with this set of values, then that will be treated as a risk. Okay. Now let us say this is a user. User is having two roles. So role 1 contains FB01 with activity authorization object 1 with activity 01, and the plant value is 100. Role 2 contains FBV0 with activity authorization object 2 with activity 16 and the plant 200. So now when you run risk analysis, if you run risk analysis at action level, like FB01, user is having both access to FB01 plus FBV0, this combination. So that is a action level rule. So there is a risk at action level, SOD action level. And even if you check at permission level also, so its system will check for this set of values: AO1 with activity 01, AO2 with activity 16. So user is having those values: AO1 with activity 01, AO2 with activity 16. So both are satisfying. So user has the conflicting transactions combining each other, and he is having access to the conflicting transactions, and user is also having to access to the conflicting authorization values. So these are the authorization values, and these two are the T codes values. So whether you run at SOD level or at action level or permission level, at both levels the system will show that as a risk. Okay. But actually if you see here, user is actually doing invoice creation for plant 100, and he is approving invoice for plant 200. He is not doing the same both duties in the same plant. So if he does both the duties in the same plant, then that would be the risk. But here the case is different. He is doing both the activities in different plants. So ideally there is no risk. This is what I'm saying again, definition. There is no risk ideally, but GRC system shows as a risk as per the rule set defined. This is the rule set what we have defined. As per this rule set, user is having a risk at action level and user is having risk at permission level, but ideally there is no risk. So this concept is called as a false positives concept. Why they are calling it as a false positives? Having a risk is false, but that is showing as a positive. Okay, hence we call it as a positive, false positive. Having a risk is false, but risk is appearing as a positive. Appearance of risk is positive, hence it is called as false positives. Okay, clear everyone? So let me know if you have any doubts in this topic now before I move ahead.